What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to go about taking vacation and how that actually works within the military, within the Marine Corps. Yes, I have on these shades. It's not to be fucking cool. If you follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, you'll know why. Or if you just go watch my most recent YouTube short, you'll figure out why I have to wear these shades right now making this video. But let's get into going over the vacation days and all that stuff, right? So in the Marine Corps, in the military, you actually get 2.5 leave days per month. Leave days is vacation days. Leave equals vacation. So you get 2.5 leave days per month, which equals 30 leave days a year, right? So that's, they're giving the Marine Corps and military is giving you 30 days of vacation per year, right? Now I have 10 days boot leave. What is that? Boot leave is the time you're mandatorily made to go home after boot camp for 10 days to decompress, right? So I had to take that. So I'm back at 0 leave days, right? Because those 3 months right there at boot camp, whatever. So yeah, I was at boot camp June, July, August. So I got 3 months worth of leave days. So that's what, 7.5. I'm pretty sure they give you the extra 2.5 to be able to get you to the 10. So I'm basically back at 0 leave days. I hit SOI. I hit SOI September 1st or September 3rd, something like that. Checked in, and then I graduated. At the time, SOI was only 2 months. I graduated. And at the very end of October, I hit the fleet November 3rd, November 1st, something like that. So I was back at 5 leave days for those 2 months of being an SOI. So I hit the fleet with 5 leave days. Now, over here, I have the federal holidays that the Marine Corps are giving you off. First of all, you're off all federal holidays, but these are all the federal holidays for 2021. That's the one I pulled up. All right, so they give you Martin Luther King Day, Washington's birthday, President's Day. I don't know what the operational pause is. They're giving you Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, right? And all of these days right here are free. They're free for you to go home. You usually get 3 days or 4 days off. The 3 days off is referred to as a 72. So if you hear somebody say, I'm getting a 72 this weekend, that means they're giving 3 days off. Again, so 72 hours is 3 days. Or they're getting 96, so they're getting 4 days off, right? And that's where all of these are. These are all 72s and 96s. So these are free days. They don't cost you anything. You're off work for that amount of time. If you're close enough, you're able to go home. If you're not, you got to suck it up and stay on base. Or you can just sneak off base, go home, and hope to God you don't get a speeding ticket or get in a car wreck or get in any trouble, go to jail, and yeah, you just come on back to base whenever you're supposed to be. So they give you all the dates and stuff right there so you can kind of plan around the holidays and stuff like that. So let's get to my specific scenario, right? So I hit the fleet in November 1st. I didn't go home for Veterans Day. I went home for Thanksgiving, right? So for the month of November, I got, you already get those as soon as that first hit. So I had 7.5, right? 7.5 when November hits. I go home for Thanksgiving. It's free, right? Now, I hit Christmas. Around Christmas and New Year's, your unit usually gives you what's called block leave. Block leave is basically a period of time you're able to go home for Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that. So they gave me the block leave. It's usually like 2 weeks. That way you can hit Christmas and New Year's. So I took all of that, and I'm pretty sure I might have went negative because they, depending on your unit, depending on your leadership, how cool they are, they let you go into the negative. And basically, of course, if you're in the negative, let's say you're negative 2.5 days, you borrow 2.5 days from them, you're going to be at 0 the next following month because you got to pay them back the 2.5, right? So for this instance, just to make it easier, let's say I didn't take, the full block leave, because the full block leave is probably 14 days. Let's say I didn't take it, but I took my full 7.5, right? So I come back in January after New Year's. Now I have 0 leave days. Now, I hit the fleet in 2017. I didn't deploy until 2018. I deployed actually December of 2018, right? And I didn't go home until what's called pre-deployment. And my pre-deployment leave, I believe, was in maybe September, maybe. I'm not completely sure. That was my first deployment. But your pre-deployment leave is time for you to go home before deployment because you're going to be gone for like 6 months. So they give you time to go home. And that's usually another like 14 days or 21 days usually, right? So, and they usually give you that like a month before you deploy. So let's say I got my pre-deployment leave in September. So that's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So that's 9 months. So I'm going to pull up this calculator. So you get 9 times 2.5. Oh, shit. 2.5. That's 22 and a half days. So I came around pre-deployment leave and I had 22 and a half days, right? Now let's say you do get the opportunity to have your pre-deployment leave, your block leave for that period is the full, let's say it's 21 days, right? As a boot during that time, I definitely took, I'm pretty sure, all of pre-deployment. But my seniors also encourage us not to take that because you're going to want post-deployment. But they recommend it for your first deployment, you take all of that pre-deployment leave, right? So I did. I took it all, and I was back at 0 as deployment hit. Now, I deployed in December. I didn't get back until I deployed December of 2018. I got back July of 2019, right? So that's a whole, 7 months right there of leave accumulated. So 7 times 2.5. Oh my gosh, why do I keep putting the 8? 2.5, that's 17 and a half days. So I had 17 and a half days when I got back from deployment. Now, you get another period to go home. It's called post-deployment leave. Post-deployment leave, it's usually the same time. Like if you get like 14 to 21 days, something like that, to be able to go home. And I didn't take all 17 and a half, right? And that's what I recommend because you want to be able to save up your leave days so that way you're able to take, the full block leave of Christmas and all that stuff. You got to worry about going back to 0 every time. So I didn't take all 17 days. I might have taken like maybe 14 days, right? So I was at 3.5 days, and I had a whole other workup and all the other stuff. But basically, this is the whole rundown, and I basically didn't go home at all until pre-deployment leave. So I got back in July of 2019. I didn't go home again until maybe 2020, right? And that's how the whole vacation thing goes. So when I tell you, like, I was only home out of my whole 4 years, maybe a max of altogether, maybe 2 to 3 months. Like, you can just see, just doing off of from boot camp all the way to your first deployment, end of your first deployment, coming back home from your first deployment, how many times I actually got to go home and how many days I actually got to go home, right? So I went home 22 days there and like 14 something days there. And so that's a little bit over a month, right? And that's just off of being in the Marine Corps for almost 2 years right there. I was only able to go home for a little bit over a month, and now I have a whole another 2 years to do this. So this is basically just the rundown of like the math and how to plan out your vacation days and how to do all of that. This is what this video is for, because I got a lot of people that ask me, how does vacation work in the Marine Corps? How are you able to go home? Now, just because you have these days over here that they say you're off, doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get these days off. If you're in infantry, you might be in the field for this, so you don't get those days off. Or you might be doing a training evolution or something like that. You might be in California, you might be doing training, and you don't get any of these days off. And with these days, you're not necessarily able to go home. Like, I live 13 hours away from North Carolina. So was I technically supposed to go home on any of these days during a 96 or 72? No, absolutely. I was way out of bounds. Did I go home? Maybe or maybe not. So you have to think about like that. Also, if you live close to North Carolina, you might be able to go home every single weekend. As long as you're within bounds. Like, no one really pays attention to that rule, but you're supposed to be within like 50 miles away from base on the weekends and something like that. So if you're within bounds, you'll be able to go home and stuff like that. So that's how the whole vacation thing works. So when I tell you, if you're not willing to be away from home for a long period of time, the military is not for you, especially the infantry. Like, this whole scenario was an infantry scenario. This was my infantry scenario. So if you don't think you can handle this, only being at home out of 2 years, maybe a month, a little bit over a month out of 2 years, like, dang, like, that's barely anything. You miss so much. You miss so many birthdays, so many holidays, so many everything, right? Just in 2 short years, you only were home for over a month, right? And you got a whole another 2 years left out of your first 4 years. So if you're not able to withstand being away from home like this, then I would highly encourage not going to the infantry, especially. Now, other jobs that are not infantry, you might have more opportunities to go home. You might be able to save your leave days up some more. And I was able to do that. I was able to save up a lot of leave days after my first deployment because I didn't go home as much. I learned my lesson from this right here, and I started saving my leave days, and that's why I was able to get out the Marine Corps a little bit early. I had like 40-some days I was able to save up, and I came home for a whole month extra, and I sold the rest back, and I went on terminal. I did a lot of things, right, with leave days by saving them up. And yeah, it was tough, like, especially trying to save up my leave days because I wanted to get out of the Marine Corps early. It was tough not being able to go home. So yeah, it is so real when I said I was only home for maybe max 3 months out of the whole 4 years. That's like, you can see the proof right here. This is literally the proof for you. So yeah, keep these things in mind. But guys, if you like the video, please, please, please give it a like so it can get out to people out there that are trying to figure out how to take vacation. How's vacation work in the military? If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments. If you have a video you want me to do, you know what to do. Leave it down in the comments, guys. If you have not yet subscribed, you need to subscribe to Trail the Great. I have a lot of things for y'all coming out. Also, you need to hit the post notification bell so you do not miss anything, whether it's a short story, whether it's a video, no matter what it is. You want to get notified when Trail the Great's putting something on YouTube. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.